everybody, and welcome to Inclusion 101. My name is Dr. Cheryl Ingram, and I am the CEO and founder of Inclusology. Now, what is Inclusion 101? When I talk about Inclusion 101, what I really want to speak to you about is the difference between diversity, equity, and inclusion. Because when we talk about DEI, we have to break it down into three different areas because they're not the same. They're complementary, and you just can't have one without the other. You got to do them all. If you're doing diversity, you got to do inclusion. If you're doing inclusion, you got to measure equity. If you're looking at equity, you need diversity and you need inclusive practices, or you need to evaluate whether or not you have inclusive practices for your diverse populations. You can't measure DEI without measuring one or the other. So when companies say, we're just going to focus on inclusion, that's the dumbest thing I've heard. What you mean you're just going to focus on inclusion, but you're not going to focus on diverse populations? Then who the fuck you trying to include? Right? But I digress. Let me get back to what I was talking about. And that's the definition of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, the difference between diversity and inclusion is that diversity is strictly about identity. It is who you have in the building: race, age, sex, gender identification, gender expression, citizenship status, religion, spiritual affiliation, etc. That's diversity, because you're looking at the social categorizations of a human being and trying to figure out the different identities that they have and intersections and how those play into their existence in a specific space, right? And then you have inclusion. Inclusion is literally about the practices that you instill in order to support diverse populations. So that means that if your workplace is being inclusive, what do your policies say? Who are your policies including? Whether it's your paternal policy, or if you have a maternal policy or a parental policy, right? Your bereavement policies, your advancement policies, your succession planning, your daily festivities and celebrations. All of these things are talking about how your company respects and invites and creates a sense of belonging for different identities. All right? Though that is what inclusion is. Now, equity is measuring whether or not the shit you're doing working. So that means that if I'm thinking about equity in the workplace, how are you measuring your impact? How are you measuring whether or not what you do is fair? Equity is literally about the outcome, okay? It's about the outcomes. If I take an assessment and I'm looking at inclusion and I'm assessing diverse populations, what those populations tell me whether or not the workplace is equitable or inequitable. So that's why I'm saying you can't do a diversity, equity, and inclusion assessment without looking at all three factors, especially if you are looking to create positive change and even accelerate your diversity, equity, and inclusion goals. That's why you need to know what DEI is. So this has been a quick Inclusion 101. Once again, I'm Dr. CI. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Talk to me in the comments about some of the challenges you have with DEI, because we're going to be bringing y'all more content all the time. We'll see y'all soon.